Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm.
If you don't know our host, David Hamm, he's a 25-year NASCAR veteran, engine builder, and Jackman.
Live every Monday evening, we have a new guest
From the racing world with their stories, their paths,
Their
racing roots.
sponsored by Jersey Cape Yachts.
Now here's our host, David Hamm.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm right here on 550 AM and 92.9 FM here in beautiful downtown Statesville at 101 South Center Street. You can come join us in the Random Marion studio. And you're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm, as I mentioned. And I've got my guest tonight, Spencer Boyd from Spencer Boyd Racing. How you doing, Spencer?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man. Finally got you in here. And I know we had a couple of hiccups there, but
Yeah,
you're here now, and that's all that matters.
for sure, man. Happy to be here for sure. And it's always fun to talk with someone who's been in racing as long as you have, man.
Yeah, it was a journey. Yeah, I guess I was in it before, probably about the time you were born, because my son's 26, and he was born when I was working at Savco down in Charlotte.
Nice.
And we lived down there off South Boulevard. And I was going to ask you too about, and we'll get into this stuff after a while, but about because I worked at a dealership, and it was the Gowan Oldsmobile down in Charlotte off South Boulevard. And then I ended up moving out to Independence Boulevard, kind of across from Hendricks.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't the Hendrick Automotive Group, I guess, that you were at. But anyway, yeah, it's good to see you. And how can people find you on your social media and stuff?
Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere. Spencer Boyd, my name on Twitter and Instagram, Spencer Boyd PR, and Spencer Boyd Racing fan page on Facebook. So try and hang out with y'all on there and talk racing.
You're kind of like a one-man show with your marketing and kind of stuff too. You're like I am with my stuff.
It definitely feels like a one-man band out there.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. And like you said, kind of my roots are in the car business. So feel fortunate every weekend to climb in a race car.
Yeah, sure. That's all right. And we got Chad Hyder in with us too. If everybody knows Chad here on my stream as well. We got a lot of mutual friends, and he does the
Canadian racing.
Yeah, the Canadian racing. Right, Chad? Every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night. Yep.
Yeah.
Canadian E-Motorsports. Find us on Facebook.
And that's on a PS4.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, after
Nice.
tonight's show, tomorrow night y'all can watch him race. And so he's raced at a lot of the tracks that you go to and race. I think it's kind of in the same week, right? Pocono, or like this week. What's the race this week?
We're racing at Richmond, actually.
Oh, okay.
Our schedule flipped.
Richmond, my favorite track.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Good. Well, and then we got Tracy over here, my wife Tracy, of course. Yeah. So what we like to do on this show is you tell your roots, your path, your story, your racing roots. So it's kind of like you start from your childhood. My parents met, this and that, and this and that. And now you're like where you're born and raised and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just had a birthday at Pocono. Turned 26, and it's hard to believe you start thinking about where racing started for me. Mm-hmm. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and started out racing dirt bikes at 4 years old. And just my parents were big into, motorsports, just going out, UTV, dirt bikes. My dad ran some go-karts, and basically mom got tired of seeing everyone get hurt on a dirt bike. Mm-hmm. So at 5, I got in go-karts and did a little bit of both for a couple years, and really just fell in love with go-kart racing. My dad worked on it, had a lot of success, which probably led to me being, a 6 or 7 year old, just loving going to the racetrack. And baseball, soccer, growing up in St. Louis, baseball is huge.
Oh, okay.
And just wasn't my thing. I played it for several years, but racing I just loved because it was kind of like one-man band. Mm-hmm. You go up to bat and you do a good job in baseball, and then the next kid would strike out, and everything you worked for didn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
So on the go-kart, I kind of hold myself responsible, work on it with my dad, and really just focus on myself and getting better and beating the other kids and celebrating that victory. And then take you a couple years later, just my dad was pushing me hard, and we were winning a lot in the Midwest and started racing nationals and won a lot of national championships. And that just led to me paying attention to NASCAR and thinking, man, I think I can make a career out of this.
Yeah, there you go.
And you never know. It's a dream, right? Like
Sure.
Every kid has a big dream. And for me, that was racing. And then natural progression. Moved into legend cars. Funny story. Was messing around. I was 11 years old and bought a legend car on eBay.
Oh, wow.
Told my dad that we won. He wasn't super thrilled about that. So he made me call my pawpaw, and I was like, we just bought a legend car. My dad's like, whoa, slow down, man. We won this eBay deal. So you had to be 14 to run legend cars. I'd been watching the summer shootout on TV. You know, I'm 10, 11 years old. And I'm like, man, I want to do that, you know. And Van Wingerden's were on TV, and all these kids were racing.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine, I remember watching him out there, Josh Williams. So as a young kid, you're watching these names, and I'm like, I want to do that. So that became the more realistic opportunity. Found out you had to be 14 to race legend cars, so kept racing go-karts. Had the legend car in the garage for a while, decaled up, drove it around the neighborhood a couple times, and realized, man, I'm over this go-kart thing. This thing's way faster.
Yeah.
So started racing those when I was 13, 14, and was flying out here to North Carolina, racing all over the East Coast with BD Racing, and kind of realized you got to live in North Carolina if you want to be a race car driver.
Yeah.
So talked my parents into leaving their 20-year jobs.
Oh.
So that was wild.
You must have been doing good if you talked them into it. I mean, really.
Yeah, I had them sold on the idea for sure.
Yeah.
So that was back when the economy took a turn, 2009. Things were crazy.
Yeah.
My dad left his 20-year job with Pfizer. We moved out to North Carolina, chasing the racing dream. A little naive to what the sport was like, and none of my family had been even close to the level of NASCAR, and more just fans and involved in motorsports and stuff. Moved out here, raced legend cars, natural progression, moved up to late models, raced all over the East Coast here, mainly Hickory, North Carolina. And then fast forward, made my NASCAR truck debut at 20 years old. And something I've never actually told people, your listeners might like, kind of had a cutoff. If I didn't make a NASCAR start by 21, I was going to go and just go to a big college, finish. I had my associate's degree. I thought I'll just go get my 4-year and focus on something different, and made my NASCAR debut at 20 years and 9 months.
Wow.
So made the cut.
How cool is that? So, so I know I saw you had raced some at Hickory, and I think you were pretty successful. You won some races, maybe like back-to-back or something.
Yeah, I ran 23 races at Hickory and won 18.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So short stint. I didn't run full time. It was over 2 years. Just ran when we could afford to run, and Hendrick Automotive Group helped me out with that. I ran the number 48 in late models, and we had a lot of success. It really put me on the map to be able to get an opportunity in the trucks.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So you ran the 48, which is a Hendrick-owned number in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
And so whenever, we had Tommy Houston on here, and he was very successful at Hickory as well, and was from out that way. And I've also talked a couple of times to Kenny Wallace, but I haven't had him on the show. I've just talked to him about, he's in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
And so I figured you probably knew that. And and then one of these days I'm gonna either get him in here, or I might just work on getting him on the screen kind of thing. But like he said, we got the rest of our lives. There's no big hurry, so it's fine. And also we had Don Miller in here on our morning show last Thursday. Yeah, Don Miller, who is he was 38 years in NASCAR, and he was with Penske, but he was originally from St. Louis.
Gotcha.
So you have to look him up if you don't know. Because in 1974, he was actually in a pit road accident where he lost one of his legs, where a car come in on pit road and crushed him in between these other cars or whatever. And he's lucky he had survived, but he went on. And I think he's the one that actually found Rusty Wallace and that kind of stuff. So that's a good story about somebody else from St. Louis. And I think Jamie McMurray was from somewhere out there.
Yeah, so my mom's from southern Missouri, Joplin, and that's where McMurray's from.
That's right. So
you got Edwards from out there, and our shop foreman, Banjo Grimm, been around a long time. He's from out in St. Louis. Okay. So it's kind of wild how many guys have come from the Midwest and kind of stake their claim in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I was the first engine builder for Carl Edwards when he moved into the Cup Series, because he had just won a truck race, Kansas maybe or something. And then we put him in, I think it was a Rouse car. And then, he was in the 99 after Jeff Burton left, and I was building for Jeff Burton. And then Carl Edwards slides in. So, that was cool. The first time I met him was at our Christmas party, and he's like, here's my phone number. We'll go to lunch sometime, So I called and said, hey, good job on that win, but never did do lunch. But, but he was a good guy, though. It seems like everybody I've met from out there has been great.
Yeah, it's a Midwest vibe, I think everyone out there loves racing or tries to understand it. And then a few of us are able to get out here to the golden land of North Carolina and get involved. But it's big dirt racing out there, and I really have zero experience. Yeah. And we got Knoxville coming up.
Oh, so maybe you could go to some of these local dirt tracks and just get in one of the cars and get some experience, you think?
Yeah, it's been talked about.
Okay.
It's definitely – I ran the Bristol truck race. First time on dirt, and we go to Bristol.
Oh, okay.
Man, the nerves were high,
Sure.
which, you know, you got to have a lot of respect for Bristol, period. But then they go cover it in dirt. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But it was enjoyable for sure. And the fans, that was kind of right when fans were getting back to the racetrack. It was pretty exciting times.
Yeah. I have Chris Ferguson, who won the late model race, I guess it was, out there. I grew up with his mom. We went to school with her.
She and I went to school together, yeah.
Yeah,
No way.
and so yeah, so I've gotten to know him through the years for the past 15 years or so. He's done really well, and then he went out there and won that race.
Yeah,
which was very cool.
that had to be cool to kind of be the first one to get a win out there. And I know Chris. All my seats are Butler, and so I've been working with Chris a long time, and obviously he's super successful dirt racing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe he'd let you borrow one of his cars. Or...
Yeah, he's got some power.
Yes, he
Those
does.
things are fast, man.
Yes, he
Wow.
does. And
Got tadpole power.
yeah, so Tracy, is there any questions coming in yet?
The only one is from Rachel. She's asking, do you have a favorite track and why?
Yeah, well, it's for me, Richmond is my favorite track. It's just growing up short track racing, Richmond has that feel, but it's also pretty fast, so it's enjoyable. I don't want to talk junk about Martinsville and places like that, but it's a lot of stop and go, where Richmond you can really get in a rhythm and just it feels like you're turning all the time, and that tire wear creates good racing, and you can kind of move people up out of the groove. So that's really what has led to being my favorite track, and I've been pretty vocal about it being my favorite, which has led to some fun opportunities with Richmond Raceway.
So how do you run there? I mean,
typically pretty good. In Xfinity, had several top 20s and top 15 runs. And then in truck, I was running 12th there last year and messed up on pit road, so that one was my fault. And then this year, we just struggled. We had some really bad pit stops at Richmond, which was tough. But for me, I put so much hype around Richmond and doing well that I think I got us all psyched out this past race. We were all pumped up, and I made some mistakes, and pit road ultimately was tough on us. But fun to be there. Had a local WML excavating demolition on board, so it's cool to have mainly Virginia companies on board my truck at Richmond. So it's kind of fun to get that local vibe.
Yeah. So I think I'll wait till after commercials in about another 5 minutes. But I want to play the replay of your win at Talladega, right?
Yeah.
And because I like your excitement. I like that. It's kind of like it's addictive, or it's I don't know. It's hard to explain. But whenever somebody's like, you can tell you're really excited and really happy about something.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people's like, well, we ran good today. We're here in Victory Lane, but you're just like genuinely excited.
It was definitely best day of my life for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I like.
You
It
feel
makes
that. You can see that.
yeah, you can see it. It's like it makes me happy for you to see that. Video.
We watched it like 30 times yesterday.
Yeah, I was putting that together, and I did like an overlay with you're getting in the truck and getting back in the truck and then going to Victory Lane. So I kind of overlaid that, but when I downloaded it, it come out really small, and I'm like, no, it's something, whatever. So I had to keep doing it. And I finally got it right to where I wanted it. And,
That's cool.
Yeah, and you saw that posted, but I've got that on here to play. But we also want to mention Scott Crow.
Absolutely.
And but whenever you want to mention that part of it, we can. But Crow Equipment, and we'll mention some information about them. But Scott Crow's he's got his own business with his big heavy equipment. I always see him on Twitter posting pictures of stuff that he's been fixed up and he's selling. But he's keeping those monster machines alive, the excavators and graders and whatever, bulldozers.
Oh, yeah.
So anytime I have a question about a bulldozer, I'll just give him a call.
Absolutely.
We've got time for a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, who is your favorite NASCAR driver growing up?
Ooh. So, two-part answer. Dale Jr., So if you look at my social media from back in the day, go-karting, everything was number 8, because everybody wanted to be Dale Jr., including myself.
There you go.
And loved Dale Jr. and what he was about. And one of the first NASCAR drivers I got to meet, he came to Peevely, Schrader's track, so that was pretty cool. And that's where I grew up racing go-karts, was right next to that dirt track. And then when you hit that age of like 13 and you just want to root for anybody your dad's not rooting for, I definitely went through that stage and turned into a Kyle Busch fan. And I was like, put a 1 in front of that 8, I want to win. And my mentality changed. I started wrecking a lot of people and winning a lot of races. So I was a huge Kyle Busch fan in my teens, for sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's cool, man. That's a good story too. So tell us a little bit about your dad. I mean, you sounds kind of like you kind of remind me of me and my son, kind of like that sort of thing. And so how old is your dad?
Yeah, my dad's like 54.
Okay.
And
now, is that old to you?
No.
Okay.
No. We got a similar
not quite
hairline
there
for
yet.
sure, me and my dad. But my dad and I are close. And being an only child, obviously my parents sacrificed a lot for me to be a race car driver and move out here and leave all their family. And now you're hitting that point where, their parents are pretty old and they're in some challenging times, and we've lost a couple. So, now that I'm 26, normally 25, this is fresh for me, but you start realizing, like, man, they really sacrificed a lot in those last few years that they could have spent close to their parents, chasing my dreams. So my dad and I are tight. Graduated high school and graduated early. Realized, man, I don't know if this NASCAR thing is going to work out. So followed my dad's footsteps, jumped into the car business. We both worked at Hendrick Dodge in Concord, right by Hendrick Motorsports, and I did everything from detailing cars to changing oil to selling cars. So spent a pretty good stint there. Basically, rode to work with my dad every day, and then was racing Hickory on the weekends.
What's your dad's name?
Paul Boyd.
Paul Boyd. Okay.
Better call Paul.
Oh, is that it?
That's what we joke about all the time, man. He slings a lot of cars, and he's just a real good people person.
Good slogan.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't realize how much your parents sacrifice until you have kids of your own.
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you're 26. That means you got to come off the insurance.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
just happened.
That's
Just
true.
happened last week. It's like, that's when it hit me. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Adult
whoa.
now.
This kind of feels like I'm hitting that next stage.
Yeah.
But I've had a good home over at Young's Motorsports for 3 years, and kind of feel like I'm at that point where trying to stay busy and keep chasing this racing dream. But every day I look back at Talladega and other races where we've had really good runs and say, man, it's been an enjoyable time so far. This is my 6th year in NASCAR, and it's really flown by. I feel like just yesterday, I was trying to win checker flags at Hickory.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure it's been a wild ride and a great experience. I mean, you think about, that's the dream of a lot of, a
Yeah.
lot more people that actually do make it. It's the dream of a whole lot more people kids, whatever, and don't ever make it to that level. I mean, Chad, look at Chad. He's doing the iRacing because he couldn't make it to behind the wheel.
That's true.
No offense, but you know what I'm
He
saying?
doesn't have a Paul in his life.
Yeah, it's
And I'm 37. So
hey man. Nowadays, man, the iRacing stuff and NASCAR heat and all that stuff, it's so much fun. I'm on iRacing all the time. Use it as a tool, and then also as something fun to do with my friends, and it's super competitive. Being a driver myself and being able to say it's super realistic. iRacing is the closest thing you can get to actually getting behind the wheel, and just how much that's blown up and been on TV, and it's given kids opportunity. This whole, iRacing Coca-Cola series, it's been fun to watch. I catch myself watching on TV. I'm like, I got to realize this is not real. It's addictive.
Well, and saying
does
that,
look real.
Chad's getting that experience, so you just never know. Spencer might say, man, I'd like for you to come and take over for one night, driving this truck or whatever, one day, whatever.
That's it, man.
I always tell myself however old Harry Gant was when he made it, I got time.
There you go. All right.
Isn't that wild? Back in the day, you look at these guys, their first cup win, 40, 45 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, man, I hope I got another, 4 or 5 years in this thing.
Right.
True. Very true.
Times have
Oh,
changed.
yeah, I could see. That's funny. All right. So what we're going to do is take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to replay the win that Spencer Boyd had from his Talladega race. And so you're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Malero.
And we're the Fair Tax Guys.
How would you like to bring home your entire paycheck with no federal withholding and no federal payroll taxes?
If that sounds good to you, we've got a show for you. It's Fair Tax Power Radio, and it's now right here on WAME Real Country.
You've got questions, we've got answers every week on Fair Tax Power Radio.
The fair tax is the only truly fair tax, and once you understand it,
you'll demand it.
Sunday morning at 6:30.
In today's world, the most important thing you can give your child is a strong Christian foundation. We at Hope Christian Academy, located outside of Troutman, can help provide that foundation by offering an education centered around Jesus Christ. Hope Christian Academy's small class sizes enable our experienced staff to give much needed one-on-one attention to each of our students. Our school offers a safe Christian environment, affordable tuition, quality education, and accepts Opportunity Scholarship. If these things sound right for your family, then give us a call at 704-528-5555 to set up a tour or schedule your child's free day of education.
Would you like to change your health situation? Improve your current health with a wellness consultation with me, Fred Lowry, pharmacist and doctor of natural medicine. I'll work with you to reach your individual goals. This includes a review of your current medications, supplements, diet, and lifestyle choices. This is a progressive way to improve your current health position for your future. Great for individuals or couples wanting to make improvement. Call me at Lowry Drug in Statesville, 704-873-2247.
All right, we're back on Racing Roots with Hamm right here on 550 AM and 92.9 FM. And if you're just now tuning in, we got Spencer Boyd, who is a what is the Truck Series now? It's the I was going to say Craftsman Truck Series. It's
Camping World Truck Series.
Yes. Then it was like Gander Mountain, and now it's Camping World.
Oh, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
We'll take it. Marcus loves to be a sponsor, but I still think of it as Craftsman back in the day.
Right. Yeah. Same here. And I still call it the Busch Series and Xfinity. You know, I'm kind of stuck
Chase
in time.
Elliott called it that on Twitter, like just last week. He's like, "Yeah, excited to watch the Busch race before ours," and then somebody was like, "It's not Busch. It's like, but it's those partners for so long, you know."
Yes,
it's crazy.
Right. Yeah, that's great. It's hard to, because he grew up around it too. He grew up around his dad, of course, and so whenever you're kind of like, it's almost like you're stuck back in time, whatever. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replay this win and from Talladega so we can kind of watch it together, and I might actually pause it. But see if I pause it. Yeah, I can do that. And then you just kind of talk about it, because I'd like to know like what's going through your mind at these times. And I'm sure everything seemed like it was happening in slow motion, right? Or do you remember it? Yeah, I'm sure. So let's see.
Johnny Sauter is not going to win the race. It's the 20 of Spencer Boyd. Unreal is right. That's what you get at Talladega.
All right, so you're getting.
Unbelievable. That boy to get back in the truck.
Yeah.
He's going to have to go to victory lane.
Well.
And Johnny Sauter is going to be furious. Spencer Boyd finished fourth at Daytona. That was his
all right, I was trying to.
I got out and they're like, "Hey, it's under review. You never know what's going to happen here." The guys gave me a great truck, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, "Man, second is amazing for us. We're happy. We finished fourth at Daytona in this truck." And then one of my crew guys is like, "You just won!" And I'm like, I can't believe this. 2 weeks ago, I wasn't running this race. We put this together late with Alabama Roofing Professionals and Freedom Warranty, and 1A Auto's been with me so long, and the Young family. It's been a tough season. It's been a lot of fun. I tell you, Randy Young, Becky Young giving me the shot to be in this 20 truck is unbelievable. Kick-ass beef jerky, everyone helping me out be here. A lot of people know how hard it is, and I'm just stoked, and my family's here. I can't believe it.
Before you go away to celebrate, how does this moment compare to what you
So I like this part right here. This is like when you get really excited. So you get there, she's asking you how this moment compares to what you thought it was going to be like to win this race. So, and I finally found the pause button on here, by the way.
I was struggling. His nose on it first.
Yeah, I put my glasses on and everything else. But all right, so up to this point, so you're out there and you've got you wasn't sure if you won the race yet.
Yeah, man, take you back to white flag. We were like P12 and just had a head of steam coming and just stayed on the bottom. And Freddie Kraft, my spotter, he was just like, man, stay down there, just keep plugging away. And literally it felt like the seas parted, and it was meant to be. Like, everybody just kept going to the middle. I'm like, what are y'all doing? And they'd go to the middle, and I'd just suck up to the next guy and suck up to the next guy. And coming to the checkered, we were in third, jumped up, and they kind of went low to the bottom. I went to the top, and we crossed the finish line in second. Ultimately, I was hype about that, really.
Yeah.
That was a career best finish for me and the team. And then they told me it's under review. I'm like, oh, man, I'm probably going to be fourth or fifth. Like, what'd I do wrong? And then the excitement went through the roof.
All right. So we'll go back to it now, and I may have to skim through it, and then I might have to find the page. Oh, there it goes.
Is not going to win
Okay,
the
yeah, we're
race.
back to
It's
the
20 of Spencer Boyd. Unreal is right. That's what you get at Talladega.
All right. So we'll scroll. Here we go.
I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, second is amazing for us. We're happy. We finished fourth at Daytona in this truck. And then one of my crew guys is like, you just won. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I wasn't running this race. We put this together late with Alabama Roofing Professionals and Freedom Warranty, and 1A Auto's been with me so long. And the Young family, it's been a tough season. It's been a lot of fun. I tell you, Randy Young, Becky Young giving me the shot to be in this 20 truck is unbelievable. Kick-ass beef jerky, everyone helping me out, be here. A lot of people know how hard it is, and I'm just stoked. And my family's here. I can't believe it.
Before you go away to celebrate, how does this moment compare to what you expected it to be like?
I mean, I had no idea what to expect. You dream of winning a NASCAR race. 4 years ago, I was selling cars with my dad at Hendrick Automotive Group. So a lot of people have believed in me to get me to this point, and so many car owners, and just the opportunity to be here with Tyler Young and his family. And
All right. So there you go. And so very cool, man. That's it. That's exciting. It's got to be. All right, so yeah, I was just noticing. Says, heads up, we detected copyrighted music audio on your. So this happens when I play a commercial. Sometimes there's commercials on here that have songs on them.
Background music.
And then it plays. And I mean to hit the cut the volume on it, but anyway, that's just the way it goes.
So I had this race on in the car. I was listening to XM. I was driving to Cincinnati, and so I was playing in the car, and I'm getting off at the exit going to see family, and they came over the radio that what happened with Sauter. You got the win. I about threw the thing off the overpass. I was like punching the roof. I was like, yeah, Spencer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's definitely a win for the small team, and those super speedways, they can do that. They've definitely put a lot of people on the map and really shown what some small teams are capable. You saw that at Daytona this year with McDowell. They're not a super small team, but obviously they're not ones that you expect to win every week. And for me, it really put me on the map as far as, I'd been in NASCAR for a few years, and this is a big accomplishment for Young's Motorsports and myself, and we're riding that wave to this day. I think about that race all the time and replay it, and every time I get to a super speedway, I'm like, all right, man, we're a contender, and you got to put that in check and just focus on making it to the end of the race. And we had a head of steam at Daytona earlier this year, and was coming to the line in 7th and had a big head of steam pushing Gil and David, and got in a wreck, finished 13th. But we just have really good trucks at super speedways, and I get excited every time we go.
Sure. That's got to be whenever you win that race. Obviously it's something great to put on your resume, and your portfolio. We got this win. So hey, would you like to sponsor a truck? Because we might just win this weekend, or something. And I noticed you've had some really cool sponsors. You got that's the one you had this past weekend. There's some great paint schemes. I call them paint schemes, but they're mostly wraps anyway.
Yeah,
but they're cool looking trucks.
So many people keep me racing and believe in me and help support those efforts. And this past weekend, we saluted steelworkers with the local PA company, Richmar Florist. They've been in NASCAR for a while and been with me a few years, and they support a lot of us. We had a really cool paint scheme, and his family had been the Bethlehem steel, yard, etc. And pretty cool, all the excitement around that paint scheme. And then before that at Nashville, we had banana pepper sauce and Angry Beer Coffee out there in Kansas. So for us, obviously we want to compete and be the best we can every week, and I want to do everything I can on social media and keep things going in the right direction. But paint schemes, man, my guy Mike Maselli out of New Jersey, he has kept it fresh, and the fans love it. and we try and name trucks as much as we can. Sometimes the sponsors are like, let's keep it the name. Let's keep it the sponsor. But Road Warrior with the American Pavement and Flower Power with Ridgemar Florist, we've had some unique ones.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like the Angry Brew coffee with a punch.
It is, man. Highly caffeinated for sure.
That's what I was going to ask you. I know you got your energy drink there. That's, I guess, the Kyle Busch's drink.
Yeah, hey, being a Kyle Busch fan, you got to support him.
Yeah.
And he drinks this and wins races, so why not?
Does he know you're a fan? I mean, surely
I haven't had that conversation. I've talked to him. And what's
Mm-hmm.
funny is I made my NASCAR truck debut at Martinsville 2016, driving for Mike Mittler, St. Louis, in a Missouri team. Pretty cool. I have a video on my phone to this day walking to driver intros behind Kyle Busch. And every now and then I go back to that date. I know it was April 2nd and made my debut. And watch that video, and I'm like, man, I remember that moment being so excited to be in a fire suit 5 feet away from Kyle Busch and somebody I looked up to. And to see him get so many wins, man, he's on fire lately.
Yeah, for sure. And did you ever get in your truck and try to follow him to the front?
Yeah, at times, man.
Sure.
We had a really good truck at Martinsville that day. Got up to 5th and wrecked with Spencer Gallagher. Michael Waltrip said, "Spencer, wreck Spencer." And I watch that every now and then.
Sure.
Think about what could have been. There was like 40 laps to go, and Mittler gave me a really good truck. And just for your debut, I couldn't ask for much more. Ultimately finished 28th or something behind the wall. Knocked the radiator out of that thing, but definitely wasn't lack of effort.
Yeah. You ever have anybody get out of their truck and come over to you and they're like, "Oh, I don't know, he's kind of a big guy." So.
Man, I think about that. I'm like, man, at some point we're probably going to throw a fist, but realistically, no. I've talked to a few drivers after the races, and we've had some heated moments. But at the end of the day, got to represent those sponsors. Try not to do anything too embarrassing.
Yeah, except Natalie. I mean, of course, she's a little small thing. She come up to you at that time.
Kentucky. I'll never forget that. I've tried. Everyone knows that day.
Yeah.
Record Rack Deer Feed. It was their first big primary sponsor, and we had BAM, their new nutritional deer feed on the back, and this bright white and orange truck. And I seemed to just run out of talent. I went and passed a bunch of people on a restart, went down on the apron. At Kentucky, you can kind of drop down below that line and blended back up. I'm sure I've always had good spotters, so I'm sure he said I wasn't clear, but that's a little fuzzy at the moment.
Sure.
And I just came up, and she clipped me in the right rear. Obviously, she was holding her lane, and I just was trying to get an arc into the corner. And I just widowmakered myself into the outside wall and took her with me and knocked Jordan Anderson. I think he's still mad about it to this day. You hate hurting another small team, and Natalie had just had enough. She was over it. I went and spent some time in the Infield Care Center. Like I said, it's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
And come back, and I'm walking with my PR guy, Josh, at the time, and walking back to the hauler, and I'm like, man, can you believe this happened? I'm like, I can't believe I did that. That's embarrassing. He's like, oh, man, it's all good. We'll move on to next week. Next thing you know, Natalie comes up, and she's just barking at me. And I really, don't remember what she was saying.
Yeah.
I was just looking at her like, what? Like, it's my fault. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And she flipped my hat off. Just took my hat, threw it on the ground. And you see the video, I'm just in shock. And I pick my hat up, and I look at Josh, and he's like, man, that really just happened. I'm like, I don't know, man. Let's get in a rental car. We got a long drive home. Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's on TMZ and all over NASCAR. And we turned it into the hat flip shirt. We sold a ton of T-shirts, donated to charity with Record Rack Deer Feed, and took some more veterans hunting down there in South Texas. So all in all, it worked out. But to this day, it's like, hey, you remember that day with Natalie Decker? I'm like, yeah, I do.
Can't forget it.
And it's like I wasn't going to ask, but I'm like, we might as well.
You got to ask. And, it's funny because we joke about it, and I'll see her in passing, and I'm just like holding my hat.
Oh, that's funny.
She's like,
Yes.
I'm not going to throw it today.
Let her go go-kart riding with him.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, yes. So, she was on my show, of course. And so we were at K1. Is it K1?
K1.
Out in Concord. And so, she's got experience there and whatever. So I'm out there and I'm running in second place. Well, first of all, she let everybody go by her before the race even started. I'm like, okay, she's setting us up. And I'm up there running second. I'm like, I'm doing really good. I'm actually gaining on the leader. And the next thing you know, I'm turning around backwards and I'm hitting the wall.
She turned you.
And I'm like, what in the world? But she said that's the only way you could pass there. So is that true?
I mean, I go to K1 with the boys a lot, and a lot of people get wrecked.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that's the only way you can pass there.
I wouldn't think so.
But I'm not going to talk any junk because I may be racing her next week. I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
that's true, yes.
But she is fast there.
Yeah, I think what it is that's the only way she could beat me.
Well, she's so little,
Well, there you go. Yeah, being lightweight helps.
Yeah.
I'm twice her size.
Yes.
You know?
True, yes. And
So David's 3 times her size.
well, I mean, I'm
Almost.
225, so yes, I'm at least twice her size.
Yes.
And that was my excuse for her being able to catch up with me like that and
That's my
blow by me. Yeah, so
They're like, Newman's faster than you at Bristol Dirt. I'm like, ha, no excuses, man. That's all talent. He's wheeling it.
oh yeah, sure.
So you
On
do
the
have
dirt.
some questions coming in again. How did you like racing out here in Auto Club Speedway in Fontana when you raced here a few years back in the 76 Xfinity race car?
Yeah, that's that was a really cool track, and you know, it's fresh. It's probably my like 10th or 11th NASCAR race, and there I was going to California, and just you know, being a young guy, like, man, I've never been to California before. This is gonna be fun, and then I'm going to a racetrack, and I'm racing Xfinity, and Grunt Style is going to sell T-shirts out there, and I'm going to meet some fans, and just all that's going through your head at 22 years old. I'm like, this is exciting times.
Sure.
But that track, the seams, it's big. I had a lot of fun, and I was really hoping to make it back there eventually. Trucks don't go out there, but they're knocking it down and making it a short track, which I'd probably like even better.
Yeah. So you're gonna. Dawn Clark's listening. She lives here in Statesville. She said, "Great show." She likes putting us on her big screen TV there while she's working. And Suzette McGuire's listening from California.
That's the one who just asked the question.
Okay, so yeah, and she's the one that you met. We were telling you about. You met her at the souvenir trailer, and she took the pictures that I sent you.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago. And but you remembered meeting her.
Yeah, I do. It's crazy, little moments.
Yeah.
That was the first time we had a big merchandise hauler with Grunt Style at the racetrack. And that was like my first time signing autographs out there, not with a bunch of other drivers. So I'm like, signing autographs by myself. Yeah. It was exciting, and people were walking up, and she was one of them.
Yeah,
really cool. And seeing that picture kind of brought all those memories back of California for the first time, going to the Oakley outlet and doing all the stuff that all the NASCAR people do.
Yeah, man.
It's just a different experience. First time eating In-N-Out Burger, and it's something that this job, I call it a job, but really I'm lucky to have it. Right. But you get to go to so many cool places, and some of the things that stick out are where you stay, where you eat, getting a cool rental car here or there. It's those little moments. You think it'd all be about racing, but there's just so much more to it, and so many people involved, really.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It is not. It's not just you show up at the track and drive and then go home. I mean, really, I always thought it was kind of like we're going like a circus. We go from town to town. We go in and set up. Go in and put on our show, do our performance.
I guess I'm not the first one to call it that. Like people are like, "What's NASCAR like?" I'm like, "It's the traveling circus."
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I was up there in Pocono and pulled in, and they're like, "You can't park over here." I'm like, "Okay." Where do you want me to park? And they're like, "Well, doesn't matter if you're a driver or what." And I'm like, I didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. All right. They're like, you got to park over here. I'm like, cool. So whip over there. I drove to Pocono. I'm in my own car and pull up there and park. And my pit crew pulled up in a van right next to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is like perfect timing. So they jump out and they're like, feels like a family reunion. And you're like, it really does. Like every weekend,
right. Yes.
It's like we all live in Charlotte, Mooresville, but we meet up out here. You don't see them all week.
Right.
And then you just see them at the racetrack. So.
Yeah.
Definitely a circus.
Yeah, that's neat. I always liked the way it was like we work for one team, but when you're there on the weekends, it's like you're all working together. Kind of, I mean, you see the same guys week in and week out.
Yeah,
other teams
it's super competitive. But what I've learned is, NASCAR really is a family, and everyone helps each other out. And you see that, you kind of have your little groups of people that are friends and teams that help each other out. And, you forget an air tank or you forget this and need a car cover. And, racing Xfinity, like the Penske guys came out there and put a car cover on my Xfinity car, and I'm like, why are they even like caring about me? So at the end of the day, it's really cool to be a part of. Yeah,
that is cool. And a lot of times too, if you're talking about the Xfinity thing, who knows, you might be their driver someday, and you'll remember that. It's kind of one of those things. Don't burn any bridges in NASCAR.
Exactly.
No, you don't. It's so tight, and everybody knows everybody, which is
for sure
could be good and bad.
Yeah, we want to say hey to the Troutman family tune in as well, Brett and Carolyn and Lee.
Yeah, so the Keystone Corner has a question. He says, any suggestions to a second-year short track driver?
Yeah, short track racing's where it's at, and obviously it takes a lot to even just do that level, right? And everybody wants to be a NASCAR driver, so you got to enjoy it. Enjoy, short track racing. Obviously, it's a big part of our sport, and just win as much as you can. I think that's what people pay attention to. Is doesn't matter what level you're at, but as long as you can go out there and beat the guys you're racing, it's going to lead to bigger opportunities.
That's Patrick Jinks up there.
Earn your stripes, so to say.
Yeah, Patrick Jinks. He's up in Pennsylvania.
Is that who the Keystone Corner is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is Linda Jinks' son.
Gotcha. So Jim Dooley is one of our listeners, and he says, "Hey Spencer, can you take the world famous Dickie Dennis for a ride around the truck track, but keep him in the truck and off the fence?"
Oh yeah. So okay, I have to lay this story out. We actually played on the radio on the morning show this morning.
Did you? I didn't get to watch
We
this
played the
morning.
video. Okay, so Dickie Dennis, 2014 Richmond. He climbs up on the fence.
Oh, that's him.
That was him.
See,
Wow.
even a 26-year-old knows who Dickie is.
Oh, come on, man. 2014's not too long ago.
Right,
I was
yes.
definitely paying attention back then. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Many of people have tried that since.
How many days did he spend in jail?
Well, he's 45.
45.
45 days in jail.
Isn't that
Yep.
crazy?
Why?
I don't know.
He got
man.
arrested for getting up there on the
Yeah,
fence.
but I figured he got out like the next day.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
need
thought.
better friends. They'd have got you out.
Exactly.
That's it. So I'll just tell the story again. He's up there, and then he didn't have a shirt on, and he's fixing his hair, his thing he had on his head, and then he's sitting there, and he's like, okay, I come up here because I want to get a selfie with the 4-car going by, and then he's like, I forgot my cell phone, and he throws his hands up in the air. That's why when you see him throw his hands up in the air, he realized he left his phone sitting down there in the bleachers.
Man.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
the perfect time
With the 4-car.
But there's a lot of videos of him doing
Did
that.
Harvick make him do it or Budweiser make him do it? One of them made him do it.
And that should be in their commercials now. You know, it's one of theirs.
His friends probably egged him on a little too.
Yeah, well, I think it was a dare is what it was.
Yeah.
The other guy, and I think there was beer involved, but I'm not
There's
positive.
Maybe
Definitely
just
beer.
one or two.
Yeah, exactly. 45 days in jail. That's impressive.
it's
I hope he
crazy.
still had a job afterwards.
Yeah, but he's banned from going to Richmond.
Forever.
Forever, yeah.
Let's make
for the
some
racetrack.
calls.
I know,
Let's
right?
get him back.
Yeah.
I think he's a
All
celebrity.
the drivers should
I know, right?
recruit him
Working on
and
it.
say, hey, let's
Yeah.
petition this ban.
I even, I mean, I've had so many people in here, and you tell them about it, and even Doug Yates was like, "That's my hero," you know.
Yeah, I mean, risk. He took the risk. It's awesome.
Well, and he's ex-military too. I mean, he's the airborne, 82nd Airborne, right? So once you go through that, you're always military. So climbing and jumping out of helicopters
to
and
the
things. Yeah. So why not? He had experience doing that. So if anybody's going to do it, it's not like he's going to fall on the track, and cause a wreck or something.
It could have went bad, but honestly, it's exciting. That thing was all over the picture. I remember that.
Yeah. So is Dickie listening? Is he watching now?
Dickie is on. He
Okay.
said he made it just in time for you to turn on.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
And Brett Troutman says he's your biggest fan of the truck series.
Perfect.
Yeah. Brett's been messaging me excited.
Mm-hmm.
for
We've
you
got
to come
lots
in.
of excited people tuning in tonight.
What else did he say there? He says the Rick Carroll, he's talking about, he reminds me.
I haven't gotten that far down yet, I don't think.
Okay.
He says, I'm your biggest fan of the truck series. This year, 2021, remind me of a young, old-school driving truck series Rick Carroll in the truck series.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, so let's talk about the Scott Crow and Crow equipment.
Yeah.
And then Tracy's going to tell us about Jersey Cape yachts. So,
Cool.
Yeah, so you got something lined up with?
Yeah, we're excited. You know, Scott Crow and the Crow family, they've done a lot in racing. And we met down in Daytona a couple years ago, and they sponsored me at Kansas and Kentucky last year, which is, important time, with COVID, no fans at the racetrack. Every partner was essential, really. And for them to come on board this year, we got some fun stuff lined up. They're my primary at Knoxville on dirt, so they're risking it with me. They're getting out there. It makes sense, with what they do. They do new, used, rebuilt Caterpillar parts. and they do it out of Indiana. They help out people worldwide. Really great family, hardworking guys, and just love NASCAR. Very patriotic, and that's something that I try and be, is patriotic, love America, support veterans. And that's really what lined us up for them to be a partner of mine. And we've had some fun, looking for a good run this coming week, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
for Knoxville.
That's what, whenever Rachel did the post this morning for Racing Roots with Hamm, she put on there patriotic Spencer Boyd. So join us, yes.
That's awesome. Well, this is their 30th anniversary. So big year for them.
Yeah.
For Crow Equipment.
Yeah, Crow Equipment, 30 years. I mean, that's a long time, and they've definitely grown that family business. And the fact that they've invested in NASCAR for years now and invested in me, and looking for a good run. Truck paint scheme is going to look a little different than last year, so tune in, check it out.
Yeah, if you want to see the paint scheme, you can see it on my thumbnail and my Instagram post. You can see the Crow. You can see that truck, the one that from the last time, and you can also see the banner right here on our live feed, the Crow's 30 years. And so you can check them out on they've got everything from, they've got the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube as well. So, and there's Jordan Crow, and their number up there, if you need anything, or if you need information about your bulldozer or whatever, that's what I usually call them for. Give them a call up there. It's 812-665-3286, and extension 2 is to get to Jordan Crow. Or you can email them at crow with the E, equipment.com. Or actually, that's the website. So
that's it.
There you go. So anyway, yes, thanks to them. And Jersey Cape Yachts. You got anything for Jersey Cape Yachts besides a thank you? And we're going to get the phone number and all that stuff. It's Janine at Jersey Cape Yachts. It's Janine with a G.
David's got all the information.
Yeah, 30.
Somewhere.
They do boats from custom yachts from 31 to 66
something feet
long. So
wow.
they can build you a custom yacht. And they're up there in New Jersey, but they can do them worldwide and here in Lake Norman or wherever you need a yacht.
That's all. I'm not at that point yet.
Yeah, well,
I'm on that, kayak fishing budget.
Yeah.
But one day, definitely need a yacht.
I'm on the blow up float thing.
Nothing wrong with that either. We can get a fishing line on just about anything. I fished from a noodle before. I'm not scared.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
and if I believe correctly, I've got Janine's number, 609-965-6850.
All right, and they'll hook you up. So whenever you're
and that's Janine with a G.
There you go. So whenever you're winning now and whatever, I'm sure you pretty much pump every penny back into your business, so to speak, your racing, for now. And then eventually it'll build, and then you'll be a millionaire. But how do you make $1 million in NASCAR? You start with 2 million,
10,
yes.
10 million.
Times have changed.
That's what
Better start with 10 and stop with 3.
That's true.
And you might have $1 million left.
That's actually what I usually say is 10 million. But yes,
it's a wild sport. But you definitely can't be in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I think every aspect, right? These guys that do pit crews, they're athletes, but they could probably make more money, being an arena football player. But they're out there pumping jacks and changing tires, and I think it's addicting.
It's what they love.
It's adrenaline. You get addicted to that adrenaline rush.
Do. And I was holding a pit sign for my buddy Josh at Nashville, and it's just you want to be a part of it. It doesn't matter what level in NASCAR, right? Everyone's important, really. I mean, the guy putting lugs on your tires could ruin a great day.
Yeah.
So everyone's equally important, and everyone is excited to be there. Like, nobody has a sour face at a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Right. That's for sure. Yeah. So my first year in going to the racetrack in full time, 1995, and that was what I did. I did a pit sign for Kyle Petty coming in, and then as soon as he gets close, then you got to yank that thing out of the way. And then whenever they're coming, then they go around, you grab that air hose and kind of straighten it up a little bit. And when they come around, they throw the tire and you grab the tire. Yeah, so
they're hot.
That was my job. Yes.
First time I caught a tire, I didn't have gloves on, burned my hand.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, yeah.
I didn't really think this through.
Exactly.
And they're not going to tell you, because everyone in NASCAR is like,
got to learn.
You got to learn the hard way.
Right.
Every aspect of this business, you got to learn the hard way.
That's it. I know when I was the Jackman, I had a line right here from whenever I would grab the tire. And then the rim would singe my arm. So I started wearing heat sleeves. And then the next year I started wearing fire suits. From then on, we wore fire suits. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I was
smart.
I was like, you know what? I need a fire suit if we're gonna do this. So, and But back then it was a deal where they throw the tires at the Jackman. And so I would always jam my thumb. And yeah, I made a little splint for it, and you'd lay them down and leave them. So, just jump over them and run around. And then the next year it was like you said, evolution. We had to roll. The front tire had to go back. And then the next year it's like both tires had to go back. So yeah, which was good for me because I didn't have to jump over them or whatever. But
pit road's dangerous.
Yeah.
You saw that at Nashville. Who was that? 74 car cleaned somebody out.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Chad, did you see that? No.
No way.
I mean, my Earnhardt story is that he ran over my foot. And, Earnhardt would kind of get close to you on pit road. So I don't remember where it was. Maybe Darlington, somewhere where the tight pit road. So I jacked the car up and I come back. And then I'm back here and ready to go. And then my foot, here he goes, cuts right. It didn't hurt, though. It just kind of skimmed over it.
But Dale didn't run over
I always remember
you just
that.
got in Dale's way.
That's pretty much it. Because, he'll come in like that. Wow. And then my other one is Ricky Rudd was coming around. He was kind of cutting off. And then I was running that way. So I just bounced off the side of his car and it pushed me around. So, and then I saw him years later and I told him about it and he apologized. But I was like, it's fine, man. You actually helped me.
Yeah.
But if you saw the imprint of a jack in the side of your car, that was me.
That was me. I left my little mark.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you got to be careful with how low the valence is.
Sure.
Splitter and side skirts. It's like, don't let it get your foot now.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. And I didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff. The only thing I did have to deal with was I didn't cut the jack stop. And I know Don Clark always says, if one thing I've learned about your show is cut that jack stop on the left side of the car. And at Wilkesboro. So it's on TV. I'm trying to get the jack under the car. And I'm like, it won't go under, hitting the headset. So the rest of the race, we had to stick a bar under there to where I could get the jack underneath it.
We need to make a bloopers video and put that in there.
Sure. Yeah, let's keep reminding me of it.
Get that wedge.
But it was, yeah.
You got to laugh at your own. You got to laugh at your own stuff.
And that was the last year there, 96.
30 years and one mistake. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
that
here's
was not
the
the
deal.
only mistake.
Well, no, the car never dropped. I never let a car drop in a race. And I always held that jack handle. Except for my last year was in 2001, and that's because I had to pull the right rear tire off and roll it to the pit wall. So, but other than that, Brian Summers come in and join us. What you got there? Did you bring us all some ice cream? It looks like a McDonald's, a frappe or something. Yeah.
Perfect.
So before we go to commercial, there's one more comment that I want to read.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that's from the Keystone Corner. You said that's Patrick Jinks, right?
Yes.
He says, I met you at Pocono in 2019. Your crew chief told me to act like a crew member, and you came out and we talked and such. Thanks to you, I decided to start my own racing career.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good.
That's cool. Pocono has been a great place to meet people, and there's so many campers and folks out there. It seems like that fan zone or that pit area is a lot busier than others.
It is. That's a very fan-friendly track. I know Paul Rodriguez and Kit, they're from Port St. Lucie, Florida. They drove up last week.
Originally from...
And they were here on the show with us last week. And then they went to Pocono. They've been going every year since 1985 or something like that.
They're originally from New York?
Somewhere up there.
Somewhere up north.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful country up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're... but yeah, they always talked about how, you can walk down pit road before the race starts and all. And I remember being out there and, signing autographs and those type of things, of course. I mean, I say, of course, I don't know why I said, of course, but I mean, the drivers could go out there but a lot of times I'd be like, all right, I got to go. But I would definitely stop and whatever. If somebody wanted my autograph, I didn't argue. Cause I mean, hey, I'm a Jackman and engine builder.
If you got a fire suit on, they're stopping you.
Yeah. That's good.
It's
though.
Awesome. Though.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is for real. For sure.
They're asking if you've got your American socks on.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what I have on, but I'm confident. Yeah, they got American flags down there.
Stars. There's stars on there.
There you go.
Patriotic everyday socks. It's definitely
good deal.
I got a lot of socks.
Well, this man right here just come down from Washington. He just retired from working up there for 25 years, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Racing Roots with Hamm. We got Spencer Boyd on with us.
Become complacent in the lives we lead, and we give up everything
Great little bank. We're based out of Mooresville. All of our board of directors, our employees, and the vast majority of our customers are all from right here in Iredell County. So it's a great place to be. We have a great time as a team. The team here in Statesville consists of Jennifer Jolly and Tara Summers. They are the primary customer service folks for business and personal banking. Then we have Tom Kincaid as a commercial banker for this area. We also have the best mortgage banker in the area. That's Lisa Culvard, who many people have worked with at other banks. She's been in the market for over 20 years doing mortgages. And then yours truly, Doug Hendricks. We have a great time working together. There's no competition between our employees for accounts or whatever. And because of that, then we don't have a lot of the issues that some banks have with people doing things they probably shouldn't do just to make a sale.
Blue Harbor Bank, with locations in Statesville, Mooresville, and Huntersville. Member FDIC. When you live a busy life, it's hard to keep your floors clean and in good condition. Well, you can rely on Terry's Carpet Care to take care of your home or business so that you can focus on things that are more important. Terry's is your local and trusted floor cleaning service for over 40 years. And Terry's cleans carpet, tile, grout, hardwoods, and LVT floors. And they're ready to help bring your floors back to life. Call for a free estimate today. 704-872-9861. That's 704-872-9861. And check them out on Facebook at Terry's Carpet Care.
School days were the happiest days of your life.
This is Jeff James, Iredell Statesville School Superintendent. Join me this Friday at 8:30 a.m. as we talk about all the things happening within the Iredell Statesville school system. We'll talk about policy, visions, trends in your local school system and explain why and how decisions are made that affect Iredell County school children and families. We might even have a few special guests along the way. So again, join me this Friday at 8:30 a.m. right here on 550 and 92.9 WAME.
All right, we're back on Racing Roots with Hamm, and tonight my guest is Spencer Boyd, who's a Truck Series driver in NASCAR. I'm not going to say Gander Mountain.
Gander Mountain Camping World.
Crashman
That's
Mountain.
right. It's owned by the same person anyway, right?
Yeah, Marcus Lemonis, man. It's man, he's doing so much for NASCAR, and he's a huge supporter. And when he likes my tweets, I get pretty excited. I mean, he's got like 75 TV shows, right?
I know, right? Yeah,
he's everywhere you look.
Yeah, he's very good on them too. When I first saw the shows he was on, I was like, I guess that's why he's a millionaire, because he's very well spoken and all that kind of stuff.
Camping World, I think they had a undercover boss with them one time.
Yeah, I believe that's one of the things.
Oh, I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah, I think there was.
Yeah, he's such a giving guy. You know, I can only imagine what he did on Undercover Boss. I'm waiting for that day someone to walk in Young's Motorsports undercover.
Right.
Sure. Yes, and you'll be like,
we're going to send you on vacation.
That's right.
Yeah.
I always wonder about these shows. It's like, did they not really? I mean, surely they've got to think they've seen the show before, and think this is kind of fishy.
Well, supposedly the way they set it up is you really don't know.
Yeah, well, I'd figure it out. And then
I feel like I'm smarter than that.
And I'd be like, oh, I was raised poor, and I've never had any money, and gosh, what I could do if I had money. Anyway,
I could really use like $3.5 million.
Yes.
Oh man,
yeah, for sure.
Good show.
Yeah, it is.
I like watch it.
Yeah. All right, so Tracy had a question.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me say this first before I ask my question.
Yes.
Paul and Kit, we were talking about, was originally from New York, living in Florida now. They said that they were at Pocono at a campsite between turn 2 and turn 3. That's where they were.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a pretty good spot over there,
Yeah, they've had it for 20-something years, I think.
There were so many RVs and stuff. And, I was driving through, like passing the fan zone and checking it out, and they had a concert. Then they had like a kids playground, which a lot of tracks don't have that.
A kids playground, yeah.
Just like driving through, it's like, man, this is, family friendly for sure. And I think that's something, selling sponsorship in NASCAR. I'm always, talking about the positives, and everything's got negative. But when you think about NASCAR, you think about vacation and people coming for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup race 3 days. People are spending a lot of money to come to a race. It's a lot different than like a baseball or football game where it's like short-lived. Here's 4 hours of your evening. I feel like that's something you do Monday through Friday after work. And then you got people that are investing a lot of dollars to come to a NASCAR race. So the doubleheader at Pocono, I thought that's got to be awesome as a NASCAR fan.
Mhm.
You know, it's just racing after racing after racing. And then, you know, it's out there in the middle of nowhere. So, you know, having a concert and different things for people to do, it's got to be more enjoyable than some other places.
Yep, that's right. And a couple years ago, we had our like sports recap show here, and it might have been 3 years ago, whenever NASCAR was kind of starting to struggle a little bit. So I put out a post on Twitter asking people, what do they think that NASCAR could do? And one of the things, you know, some people said ticket prices, this and that and this and that. But some of the things we're definitely doing things like you're saying about being more fan friendly. And I didn't think about the one about having like a playground for the kids, stuff like that. One of my suggestions was like having better like Wi-Fi, like when you go to the track.
Oh, that'd be nice.
You know, you can't even send the picture out and stuff. But think about it. If you take your kids, even though you want them to stay off the phone, but you take your teenagers and they're connected to their phone and they're going to send this out. It's like free advertising. Mm-hmm. Like, here I am at the racetrack. Here's a picture of, you know, Kyle Busch or Spencer Boyd, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's like, hey, that's generating advertisement for free.
Oh, the more people at the track, the better, right? Mm-hmm. And the younger folks getting into racing, right? You see a, 10, 12-year-old, obviously they're on social. They have friends. And they're posting about being at a race. That's huge advertisement, and that's going to get more people into racing. And I think if you're a NASCAR fan at 10 or 12, we pretty much got you as a lifer.
Yeah, right.
You got to get to a race. I didn't go to a lot of NASCAR races growing up because I was racing all over the country myself, but I could see that through the TV. I could see the experience and just all those fans, right? It looks like Skittles out there in the grandstands. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's probably why they're a big sponsor. But
yes, right, exactly.
Just NASCAR, it seems like from every age group, it can be an enjoyable sport.
Yeah. Yep. Talking about Skittles, that's the Mars family, right? So they're like huge in NASCAR anyway, with the Snickers and M&Ms, especially M&Ms.
Speaking of such,
and that caters to the
Trevisons
kids too. Oh, are they? Okay.
Trevisons are on finally.
Yeah, there you go. And they're they were there when, let's see, Kyle Busch won the championship, I guess 3 years ago, whatever.
2019.
Okay, 2019, yes.
And 2015.
Yeah. So they were there, and they were down there with them in the pits, and they got some he was sending me very cool videos. He's standing right there when Kyle Busch is doing his burnout, and they got the in victory lane and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So then they've had the Mars family over to their house for a party. We were there one time. Yeah, so we were there.
They definitely are big into NASCAR, and Kyle, he gets them a lot of wins, a lot of popularity and stuff, and that's pretty cool what they do. It seems like they're involved from truck to cup. They used to sponsor the Iowa race, and being from St. Louis, Gateway hadn't always been on the schedule, so Iowa was kind of a home track, so I was kind of always focused on that, and they got a cool trophy. Kind of start looking at that. Once you win one race, it's like, man, what trophy would be cool? And it's not that easy. You can't just show up and pick it out. The Pocono trophy is so patriotic. I wanted to tweet, like, I really want that, but I didn't need everyone ragging on me on social media.
Sure.
I was like, I'm gonna just lay low on this one. But it is a cool trophy.
Yeah, that's something I didn't think about. I'm sure you have to do that a lot, where you're like, okay, do I post this or do I not? Because I'm going to get a hard time about it,
Yeah, 90% of the people are going to love it, and the 10% that hate it, those are the ones you're going to think about. And it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll just I'll leave it, let it go. You always have that funny moment, right? Like my dad always says it takes like two people to have a bad idea, right? Like one to come up with it and one to say it's a good idea. Smart. And then you go through with it. So
even three, one to execute it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dickie Dennis and the climbing the fence.
It took 7 people to get this guy up on the fence, but man, he's just doing the Tony Stewart. He was just climbing the wrong side.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right. Yes, I know that.
Speaking of Dickie, he does have a question.
All right, right quick though. I think he was the one that messaged me whenever they were at somebody, whatever. What race was it they were climbing a fence? And he's like, "How come they can climb a fence but I can't?"
It was the Bristol All-Star race last year.
There you go.
He started the trend.
Yeah.
So his question is, what is the most hilarious story you have so far about your NASCAR career?
Oh. I don't know. I got to think about these.
Yeah,
some of
them you can't
tell.
You got to think about, man.
He's not within that grace period. What do you call it?
Statute of limitations.
Yeah,
that's
statute
it.
of limitations.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know. One funny story is Xfinity racing. I hadn't like flown to a lot of races. My first 5 or 10 NASCAR races, it was my dad and I, driving to the track and doing the deal and just happy to be there. And then full-time 2018 racing the 76 for Grunt Style and SS Greenlight. Bobby Daughter, still tight with him to this day.
Yeah.
he's like, we're going to fly everywhere. I'm like, wow, man, this is big time right here. Like, it's cool. I'm taking photos with the jet every weekend, posting it. You know, my high school friends are like, dude, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't own it, but I got to see.
Living the big life.
Yeah. So
That's right.
I'm falling asleep on the plane, land, and I think we're in Texas. So we get off, and I get out, and I'm like on Instagram. Hey, man, made it to Texas. The bird just dropped me off. Like, this is awesome. Tune in. It's going to be a great weekend. Yeah. We were in Tulsa. Getting fuel.
Yes.
And like there's 30 people on the plane. They're laughing their butt off. And there's a Subway in the little airport there. Yeah. So everyone's in line getting Subway, and I'm the talk of the whole thing. Oh, and there's like big teams on there. They're like, this idiot thinks we're in Texas. So that was one of my aha moments for sure. Yeah. That's PG. So. Yeah.
That's funny. That's good. Well, I'm sure you can't tell a Sterling Marlin story. That's what we always ask. But you know, and and those are always when people are like, oh man, I don't know. I got to think about this one. I don't know if I got one that's PG.
Exactly.
Well, you have a lot of them that stick out that you're like, man, these are funny moments or infield moments. But you got to keep those deep. And just ride it out. But I tell you, NASCAR fans are the best fans. I feel like this sport has taken me to a lot of cool places, you know, UFC, football games, all kinds of cool stuff for, you know, 20-something-year-old. But when you go to the infield of Michigan, Pocono, or Talladega, you're in for a treat.
Yes, yes, I know. I have a Talladega story.
Perfect.
He probably hasn't told me before.
Well,
from that look.
There's one every year.
Yeah.
There's a Talladega story every year.
We've seen some video and some pictures.
Yeah. Well, not of me.
No.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say.
We're all professionals here.
That's right, yes. I know. And I was, we were supposed to go hang out with Scott and Jana and Natalie Decker and her family down in Talladega, but we ended up going to Key West instead. So, I mean, I say it like
tough
that.
Competition.
That's rough.
Yes. Take a vacation with your wife once a year, you know?
But I was telling them when they were in here, we were talking about Talladega, yes. And I was saying how I was riding around in the van behind a pickup truck. The pickup truck had two girls in it, and they were, of course, riding around lifting their tops and stuff. You know how you see that at Talladega.
Oh, yeah.
And
were they beer tops, you said?
And yeah, that's it. Exactly, yes. Yeah. And so, anyway, we were just doing that. And then I had and I know I just told this story. Last week, we had the windshield washers where they were squirt out the side of the van. So I could squirt people when I would go by. And this guy was like laid out in a lawn chair, and I was squirting him. And then he wakes up and throws his Pepsi in and hits my buddy Ivan, lands on him and covers him with Pepsi, you know. So we were like, all right, we got to take off out of here. But yeah, that's my Talladega story. There's more, but you know, that's my cleanest one.
There you go.
But Talladega, you see some interesting people out there for sure.
You got to go. And that's what I tell people. You know, and I don't think it matters what age, because at some point you're going to see something, right? But I call it Talladega experience and the Boulevard, and where you start the weekend and where you finish. You're a changed man. You're a changed man. But it's cool, and you know, to be able to say that I won there, and I was the first one in that new victory lane, and I think Talladega is super fan friendly, really cool camping wise and stuff. But you can see like so much racing. You move around the racetrack, and it's just so big.
Now, did you hear any voices while you were in the truck? I'm going to tell you why, because Bobby Isaac, he heard voices, and they were telling him to get out of the car and don't race anymore.
I didn't hear any voices.
And he did.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
Really?
Because supposedly Talladega's on an Indian like burial ground, whatever. So, you know, there's mysterious things have happened there. Like,
yeah, like me winning.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
It's wild, man.
Oh, yes.
People talk about it all the time, but I didn't know that about Talladega.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna have to read some stuff.
When I went down there,
that was over a burial ground. Indian.
Yeah.
Indian.
So I was down there one year. When the ARCA president, I believe it's ARCA president, ARCA president got killed. He got hit by a car outside the track. You know, it's like a runway out there, or what it used to be a runway. Got killed. And we were landing one time in the air. We landed a 727, I guess 100 or whatever, out there in the little airport beside Talladega. Yeah. And we hit the runway so hard, all the oxygen masks were falling down. And then our pilot, like after we got off the plane, he was taxiing. He blew out the windows in the tower. Just weird stuff like that.
Wow.
And then one time there was a bunch of cars inside the garage, and they got tampered with. before the night before the race, stuff like that. Terry Levan texts me. He's with Tilly Hardy Davidson up here in Statesville.
Man,
Yes.
I raced a legend car that had that all over it back in the day.
Really? Oh yeah, he was probably involved in it.
Yeah.
Don Tilly.
That's cool.
That's his father-in-law. He was. He says, "Oh, M&G, I got some good Talladega stories, but cannot be told on the air." Yes.
Of course he
But
does.
That's it.
You should come on down here and tell them. Just tell a cleaned up version.
Yeah,
That'll be
it's
okay.
fine.
They'll
We'll
still
let
be
you
funny.
call in.
And I don't want everyone to think that just everything that happens at Talladega is dirty or bad, but it's just a place that, it's like the beach. Everybody loves going to the beach, but there's always, a dirty beach story. But
Oh, yeah.
Sure, yeah. He said that was his son Chandler. Legend
that's
car.
it.
Okay.
Yep.
How cool is that? Small world.
Small
huh?
world, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're just
Good
tuned
times.
in, we got Spencer Boyd, who is a Camping World Truck Series driver. I was gonna say Gander Mountain again, but he's a Tilly Hardy Davidson Truck Series driver.
Dickie says there is a video about the track being haunted.
Oh, okay.
There is a YouTube video.
Yep. It's interesting stuff. So
We'll have to research
but don't think
it now
about that.
because you said it, Dickie.
Don't think about that next time you're driving there, because you don't want to, make yourself hear any voices unless it just says you're going to win today.
Like stay low.
Yeah.
Stay low.
Yes.
Stay low.
Yeah, I heard voices. It's the spotter.
Yeah.
Stay low. Stay low.
Are you sure it was the spotter now?
Go high. Yeah, I don't know.
You never
Sounded
know.
a lot like Freddie.
Maybe that was a
I
secret.
got a different spotter this year.
Okay. So what did you do after the win? I mean, okay, what you can tell of.
Oh, no. It was a good experience.
Because you said you didn't drink beer, in the video.
Yeah. I never drank alcohol at that point.
Okay.
But now I'm a professional.
I was gonna say I was gonna hand you a beer after I was gonna ask you that question and hand you because we got some in the refrigerator.
Yeah, I
anyway.
said I don't drink
He's a
beer, but I
professional.
might tonight. And I got some fun stuff coming up about that video here in the next couple weeks with a new partner that just came on board. So we're gonna have some fun. Definitely bring that video back.
Yeah.
But I'll remember this forever. I was running the Cup race the next day, one of my first Cup races, and so I had to behave. And I had to be smart, and I knew that I had a long race the next day. So I basically fell asleep at Texas Roadhouse with 40 of my friends, family, and sponsors.
Hold on, in this.
I was at the booth, falling asleep, just wore out.
I'm sure, yeah.
After, we still went back to the track and walked around, met some people, saw the Riley Green concert, part of it, and then went to a terrible hotel that night. It was interesting. And then went and ran the Cup race the next day, and then it got rained out. And then we had to come back on Monday. Just a weird weekend. But finished first in the truck race and 40th in the Cup race. So talk about highs of highs, lows of lows. But,
yeah, sure.
It was exciting. And then what was really cool was trucks didn't race for 2 weeks. So I got to ride that wave on Race Hub, and I was the most recent winner for 13 days.
Yeah.
And Todd Gilliland finished really close, fourth, and I guess after the DQ he was second, because they put Sauter and the 54, who finished third, to the back for dropping below. And I saw Todd, and he's like, man, almost had you. And I'm like, man, I got a feeling you're going to win next week. And he won Martinsville the next week. So after the race, I was like, hey, man, I told you.
Yeah.
So you're pretty psychic.
That's
I
cool.
mean, at least for those 14 days.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You ever talk to any guys over at DGR?
Yeah. I talked to a few of those guys.
Okay.
And one of their tire guys, Don, used to work on my legend car. So it's kind of crazy. You meet people throughout the years racing, and then you all kind of grow in the sport, and people bounce around, from job to job.
Yeah.
They wear a different T-shirt.
Yeah, my buddy, I was sitting here on the radio. We were playing a race from 50 years ago when Ford first won its first NASCAR race, and it was at Dayton Speedway, I guess it was.
Speedway, yeah.
And so I had a call come in, and it was Jeff Lemons over there at DGR, and he's working in a machine shop, and he was telling me that's where he was from, and how his dad used to go and ride a bicycle to the track, climb up in a tree and watch the race, just cool stuff like
Good
that.
old days.
But I thought that was a small world, he's sitting there listening. He said he listens to us every day over there at DGR. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good group of guys over there. That team has, come a long way, and obviously they started off on the right foot, but they've been successful. And I mean, trucks you're seeing a lot of teams grow and get success, and a lot of different winners. I mean, John Hunter's kicking our butt right now, but to be expected.
Yeah.
Good race car driver, good trucks.
Sure, yeah. Yep.
Suzette says it makes her day because you interact on social media with her.
Well, it's always fun, and I recognize a lot of names on Twitter, like we were talking about earlier. It seems like Twitter's been super active for me the last few years, and it's fun, and we give away a lot of hats and T-shirts, and
there you go.
It's a good time, and just seeing the different people on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It seems like Twitter is a very positive place to be, and you see a lot of drivers deal with little different things within racing and people talking junk at times, and Twitter is a super positive place, and hang out there.
Yeah, it kind of when you see people go on there and they start bashing people, drivers, whatever, then my first response is like, hey, you're not doing this, and you know why? Or just ignore them is what I usually would do. But I just don't like to see that. It's like, come on now, be cool.
That's technically how you and I met. Was over Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Something about Kyle Petty looking like Yanni or something.
Oh yeah. I've still got a lot of the posters from whenever he was our driver at Sabco, and he had the long hair, and he still has the long hair. And
he had the flow going.
He had the flow going.
Yes. And we were telling this, or somebody was telling that story last week. It was Sterling Marlin, I guess, was the one that told the story about when Kyle, we were at, I guess that was at Indy, whenever we had the bad wreck.
Yeah.
And Kyle broke his leg. It was he was running second, and so he's on the stretcher, and then the guys come out there to help take him off, and they kept lifting him up, and then Kyle would be like, "Ow, ow!" every time they lift him up, and he was stepping on his ponytail.
Oh no!
Yeah, there he is with a broke leg. Just killed the wall at Indy. And I didn't say I have both valve covers from that engine. Anyway, that's a side story, but they got holes in the top of the valve covers. 18-degree Chevrolet. Anyway, I worked there then, so
yeah.
We spent the rest of the day. Me and Mikey Atwell, who was on here last week, we spent the rest of the day over in the museum at Indianapolis.
Very cool place.
Yeah, I've
only raced Indy once, 2018 Xfinity.
Mm-hmm.
We were there like 4 days because it rained out every single day.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not a video game person, like at all.
Uh-huh.
And I'm downloading every app on my phone because no car. I had no rental car.
Yeah.
So I was stuck at a hotel for like 3 days.
Oh.
And but speaking of the museum, I was able to go check that out and run an Indy car on a little simulator, and a lot of history there.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been to so at Darlington they had the Joe Weatherly Museum when I was a kid, and when I would go there they had a Richard Petty simulator in there, and I'm sure it's way gone, but that thing was it was realistic for the time. I mean, it had the TV screen like this, and it was, lines across the tube television, But I was like, man, I'm driving a race car right here, and this is back in the 70s. But I don't know. I don't know if Darlington still has. They got a little museum kind of thing there. I'm sure their simulators grown up since then. Oh, so Terry Levan says yeah, he says, do you want to hear Kyle tell the story about his broke leg and then stepping on his ponytail? Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Yes. I can't wait to get Kyle in here, Terry.
Yeah,
so
you need to get Kyle
we need to make
in
that
here.
happen. He's such a busy guy though. I mean, I'll text him. I'll send him a text, and
we'll come to you, Kyle.
It might be a couple of days, but I can text Morgan, his wife, and then she'll get right back. Now she's had another kid since then, so that might be different now. But yeah, we have to get anyway. No, sorry. Do you ever talk to Kyle Petty at all?
I've never talked to him.
Okay.
No.
He's a pretty funny guy. He's very.
That'd be cool to meet him.
Yeah, he's always got stories.
Yeah,
just
he's been around.
Great personality.
He's experienced a lot of the history of NASCAR, and that's what's cool. There's guys that have been in the sport seems like since the beginning.
Yeah.
The evolution of this thing's been wild, and hopefully I got a lot of years to go because just the changes I've seen, I think it's been a positive.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I like the most is the safety aspect of the sport, with the softballs and then how the trucks have evolved, even because, you were talking about John Hunter Nemechek, and he's named after his uncle, John, who passed away 99, maybe something like that, 98. It was one of the, I think it was 98, 97, it might've been 97. Anyway, I met him right before he got in that truck accident. And it was, the seat was closer to the window, area kind of thing. And when he hit the wall, it just, not good.
Yeah.
But they haven't had, since Earnhardt, it's been safety. And they've done so good.
Yeah, it's been good. And they stay on it. There's days that we show up and they're like, man, we need to, adjust these belts, or we need to do this. And it's like, come on, man. You know, what do we got to do next? But it's all safety, right? And when you go hit the wall hard, you know, like
You're
Kentucky
glad
or Daytona,
they did
you're
that,
like, yeah,
right?
you know, these guys, they're safety officials. They know more than I do. So, you know, it may get frustrating, or you're like, man, the belt kind of hits me weird. That's really not how I like it. And they're like, well, that's the safest, you know, angle. And they got all this statistics and technology. And it's like, okay, cool, man. Whatever you say, I'll just drive the thing, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of times they name the bars like the Petty Bar.
Yeah, Newman Bar.
Newman Bar, yeah. That was the most recent one, I guess.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think the Newman Bar actually
Newman has
saved
2.
him, right? He probably does have a new one.
So he had the Newman Bar, and then there's like another bar since the Newman deal at Daytona. So it's crazy. Like you said, man, we've been fortunate that, you know, guys have walked away. I think the closest one was probably Newman, you know, as of late. That was, I mean, I remember watching that race happen, and you were like, wow. And I work out with Corey LaJoy. I've become pretty good friends with him. And he's like, dude, I didn't even see the car. It literally fell out of the sky, and he hit it, you know, roof for roof. And he's like, it sounded like a tornado.
Sure.
Pretty wild wreck, and lucky that those guys were able to, you know, walk away, basically.
Yeah.
I can imagine how loud it was, because just a rock hitting the car when you're driving down the interstate.
Sure. Yeah.
Imagine a car hitting you.
Yeah, and I saw David Reagan right after he was in that one, and he was skidding, and there was like sparks flying in, and yeah, it was funny him telling about how that was like being showered with the sparks or whatever. But he was a little fired up. He's like talking about different things. But Corey LaJoy come in the shot whenever the year that he had his face on the front of the car, the whole car. It was great.
Old Spice or whatever. That's crazy.
Yeah, but he was talking about that, how that was actually a really good idea, just to do that, you know, something different. Never seen that.
It's popular.
Yeah. So you need to do that next.
I think you're next, Spencer.
I don't think I want my face on. You know what I mean?
You can put your socks on.
Yeah.
There you go.
There
Put
you
your
go.
socks
Get
on.
my feet out there.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, he's got that hood hanging up at his dad's shop.
Okay.
The seat shop and where we work out. So seeing his face on there, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's got some bond or bear bond on there.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That is funny. He so he used to hang out with my nephew, Brandon Blair, down in Gastonia. Him and Brandon McReynolds.
Oh yeah.
And they would all kind of hang out
as a group.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. A lot of those, you know, drivers' kids, you know, have obviously Corey's been successful in NASCAR, and Brandon's been successful in what he's doing, and it's wild. You know, it's hard once you're in racing or you're in that racing family. I think it's hard to get out. You know, it's
in
like
your
I
blood.
said, it's addicting, and it's one big family.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like me when I got out. But I still had this at least to kind of, you know, keep in touch with my friends and that I've worked with over the years. And I guess I probably worked with thousands of people, and not just people at the track, but just working at Savco and Bill Davis Racing and Carl Wagner's, and then at Ralph Yates for 16 years and Robert Yates Racing. You know how it is. You work with so many different people. Think about when you're in it 25 years, how many people you're going to know.
And you know pretty much everybody that's in the business.
Yeah, you do get to know.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you've been around them or you've met them or
and all the
whatever.
Legends. You know, all the legends and such.
Well, that's because, you know, whenever I started going to the track, it was like whenever you see Junior Johnson, one example, when I would see him, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Junior Johnson. I got to go up and say hey to him. I got to go up and do something. So I was at Bristol, and I had my Bristol pass to get in just before I had a hard card. And so I had him go up and sign it to Carl, my dad, and then Junior Johnson, because that was always my dad's favorite driver. And
Very
when
cool.
he was, when he was at Charlotte in
bad to the bone.
64, 63, 64, my dad was there whenever Fireball Roberts got in his bad wreck. And so I've heard my dad tell those stories. But and the other one I had to meet was Joe Gibbs, as far as team owner, because I was always a Redskins fan.
And we're still waiting for the football.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
Fun. So
I saw him at dinner the other night.
Oh,
I
did
was
you
eating
really?
in Mooresville, and him and Ty were there.
Okay.
And just eating, and you're like, man, that's, you know, hey, Ty, what's up? You know, and I talked to him for a second, and it's like, yeah, you know, you're cool. You're winning a bunch of races, but like coach is right there. You know, it's like, it's like all the success and such a humble guy.
Sure,
really cool.
Yeah, I played softball with J.D. Gibbs back in the day. But, Yeah, you know how it is. We just being around different people.
Bump into people.
And yeah.
Well, that brings me to the conversation you had earlier about following behind Kurt Busch in his in your fire suit. What driver is it that you would find the biggest thrill to be able to win against?
Yeah,
like if you were side by
side racing. Now, I mean, it'd probably be Kyle Busch, you know.
Sure.
I think that's a guy that, like, if you can beat him out for a win, right? You're watching John Hunter do it. Several other truck guys have, called that a big success, beating him. Any guy like that, right? Guy that can dominate in anything. Larson's kind of at that point right now, winning all those races. I mean, I think if you're a dirt guy and you go beat Larson, that's a huge deal, let alone, in a cup car. There's just guys that you put up there to say they can win any given day, and just to be on the racetrack with them seems like a success,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And Larson was so close to winning his 4 in a row.
What happened?
I know, man. Left front of all things, right?
Yeah. I think he's got to be looking back like, man, what did I do wrong this year? Like, who did I make mad?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But
which racetrack did I go to?
Yeah.
Like the Talladega thing.
Does he even remember what track he's at? Like, he races, I don't know, 5 times a day.
Right.
It's like, how do you even know where you're going?
Right.
He's got a travel agent or something.
Yes, I'll tell you so. I was glad to see him come back and start winning, though. He did good.
So Rachel has another question. She says, what do Chad and Spencer think racing will be like for the next generations?
That's you, man.
Wow.
That's deep, right?
That's a pretty detailed question. Hi, Rachel.
Yeah. Yes. RD said, thanks y'all so much, Spencer Boyd, for sharing some great history in Idol. He's up in New Hampshire.
Yes. David got it right for the second time in a row.
Yeah, I used to say he was from Michigan because I just always think Ford and I think Michigan, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's talking to him on the phone, then I realized he's from New Hampshire because he's got that deep accent.
That accent.
Yeah, for sure.
I love accents. There's like not one that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, it's so cool.
Trying to figure out where they're from.
Yeah. And being from the Midwest, yours is kind of just clear.
Mellow.
Typically
it's
Midwestern. Funny. Hey, should we spin a wheel? We got a prize winner tonight?
Let's see.
Yeah, you got to put that together.
Yeah,
we spin a wheel and we give out a prize for whoever wins.
Let's do it last.
Okay. Do it last. Well, I mean, we're just about down to the, to the last. I got my watch on, but it's not even turned on.
Yeah, mine's probably dead.
I did that for the time, for keeping up with time or whatever. But
I just grab a different watch and I'm like, oh man, battery's dead. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I always look at my phone, but I feel naked without a watch.
Yeah, I was like getting there. That's a big watch you got there.
Left side.
Yep. Wait.
Okay.
Help.
Oh, there you go.
Helps him get
That's
in the
good.
corners better.
Can't put it on your right hand because then you're like,
yeah,
left hand.
That's it. That makes sense. Yes. So I wear this because in the morning times I like to give out the accurate time because I'm telling hey, good morning. It's 8:29 or whatever.
And a half.
And yeah, well, and that's the thing about it. I like to be very accurate. If I look up there, it could be anyway. Way my eyes have been lately.
Have it up here too somewhere.
You're late to work.
It's here, and it's over here.
He gets to work the very last second.
Well, but yeah. So here's how it works. We got Billy Buck in the morning. He owns the radio station WAME, and you can listen in the mornings, 5:50 a.m., 92.9 FM, WAMEradio.com, and he'll play 2 songs. He opens up the show, plays 2 songs, and I get here about halfway through the second song typically, and sometimes before the second song plays. And sometimes I'm running in here, and then I come in and say, it's real country. It's 5:50 and 92.9 WAME.
Out of breath.
I'm like, good morning. It's 6:10. Whatever. And so,
that's early.
Yeah, it is. It is early. So I do that 4 mornings a week, 6 to 10. Yes. So tomorrow morning
I'll
be
at 6:30.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning I'll be here at 6.
To be somewhere at 6:10.
I know, right?
Complete different.
Yeah.
We're just 10 minutes from. We're just 10 minutes from here,
I know.
so it's not terrible.
And when I worked at Roush Yates, it was in Mooresville, so I had to be there at 7, and so
you're used to getting up.
Yeah, I was used to getting up, and starting at 7. I was like, why are we starting at 7? Every race team I worked for, we start at 8.
Yeah, I think 9 to 3. If I own a race team one day, it's gonna be 9 to 3, 2-hour lunch.
There you go.
That's great.
7 days a week. 7 days a week. I don't believe in days off.
There you go.
There you go.
You get a 2-hour lunch to take your nap, Dave, but you still got to work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
There you go. Hey, so we're going to wrap it up. How can we get in touch with you, and how can people follow you we'll just go through that again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for, hanging out here tonight. And,
thank you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Spencer Boyd, Instagram Spencer Boyd PR, and Facebook Spencer Boyd Racing fan page. And I run all that, so if you don't like what's on there, it's my fault. And if you do like it, then I'm taking the credit. Hit me up, and love interacting, having some fun, talking racing. And I love questions. People are always like, what socks are you wearing? What's your favorite song? What are you eating for lunch? I think it's fun to talk about that. And for me, it's like, these people actually care what I'm eating for lunch. And then I'm like, I better eat healthy. Because if I'm like, I had 2 Big Macs, and Coca-Cola. No, it's like, all right, what'd you have? And for me, a lot of grilled chicken lately. A lot of Dano seasoning, banana pepper sauce. I got the shirt on now.
There you go.
Trying to be a little healthier. And like I said, work out with Corey LaJoy some. He's a pretty fit guy. All these drivers are getting super fit. Yeah. And I'm like, I was getting super fat.
Oh, well. It's easy to do when you're on the road, though, right?
It is, man.
In-N-Out Burger.
So many cool places you're trying to eat. Like, you show up in Texas, and it's like, we got to go to, Crazy 8 Barbecue or whatever it is.
Get your great big steak.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then go to bed late. But, hey, there's a way you can do it the right way. And the traveling part's so much fun. I mean, that's half the fun, I think.
Sure, yeah.
I think it would be nice to be able to see different places.
Yeah. So the only reason I quit doing it is because my son got to be 6 years old, and I wanted to coach his baseball team, and I was missing out on weekends.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, I got to decide if I want to keep going to the racetrack or I want to spend time with him.
Well, you put a heck of a stint in.
And I went that way. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So you're in that next chapter.
Yeah.
And, my dad, working on my race car and stuff, we got so many good memories. And obviously you and your son playing baseball, obviously that's a big part. So, just the fact that NASCAR is part of your life and you still hold it close, I mean, that shows what the sport does for people. Every aspect of it, I think it's fun to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's like you said before, it's like one big family. So, yes. So, anyway. All right, it's time to spin the wheel.
You can spin that wheel.
All right. I have to move my computer. All right, we're on red.
Red today is going to be Patrick Jinks.
Patrick Jinks. Okay, you are the winner today on Racing Roots with Hamm. So you're going to get your prize sent in the mail, and I believe I still already have your address, and so we'll get that sent out to you. All right, so congratulations, Patrick Jinks. Hey, good job. All right, so
Patrick.
Yeah, he's the one that races a little bit too. He's the
one that said you inspired him.
That's really cool. It's that's wild, man. Enjoy it. Chase those checkered flags. Have some fun, and I think short track racing is the most fun. So enjoy it.
Sure. Yeah, and you run quite a bit out there up at the Hickory, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a
cool
lot of history
track.
there.
If you're willing to travel, you got to check it out. It's such a lot of history there.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll thanks to Crow Equipment as well, and we got Jersey Cape Yachts, and you can go to my website DHammiam.com. I've been working on it a little bit. I just redid the whole thing, so that's still in the works. And you can also find my podcast now. I finally started posting podcasts. It was Hamm the Engine Man a couple years ago, and now I'm getting back to just DHammiam podcast, and these are the Racing Roots with Hamm episodes. So
it's like Camping World.
Got that going. Yeah, like Camping World. So yes. All right, but thanks everybody so much for tuning in, and y'all have a great night, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for the Billy Buck Morning Show. All right, wave goodbye.
Bye.
Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm.
If you don't know our host, David Hamm, he's a 25-year NASCAR veteran, engine builder, and jackman.
Live every Monday evening, we have a new guest
from the racing world with their stories, their paths,
their
racing roots.
Sponsored by Jersey Cape Yachts.
Real Country 550 and 92.9 WAME and W225BD Statesville.
Finally, an independent specialty pharmacy in the Lake Norman area. Lakeside Specialty Pharmacy. where they're committed to care for you, your family members, and our furry friends. Lakeside Specialty Pharmacy offers non-sterile compounding, vaccines for shingles, pneumonia, and flu shots, free delivery and mailing of prescriptions, and they accept all major insurances, including Medicaid,